Hello everyone! In this lecture, we'll learn how to make the seams look more realistic. Before we begin, grab a t-shirt you have at hand. By working while observing the real garment, you'll be able to achieve a much more realistic result. First, set the 3D view to Thick Textured Surface and switch to the Edit Sewing tool. For this example, we'll adjust the shoulder seam. Select the shoulder seam in either the 3D or 2D view. The seam's detailed settings will appear in the Property Editor. In actual t-shirts, seam allowances are often pressed to one side, so let's replicate this. In the Property Editor, locate the 3D seam line option. Open its drop-down menu, where you can choose between plain seam and directional. Here, select Directional. Selecting Directional displays options for Seam A and Seam B. This setting determines which side the seam allowance is pressed toward. Select either Seam A or Seam B, and check how the seam allowance lies in the 3D view. Check the inside of a real t-shirt to choose the correct direction. Next, we'll create the appearance of the seam sinking into the fabric. If you look at an actual t-shirt, the seam area has a slight depression. In the Property Editor, under 3D Seam Line, you'll find an Intensity option under Normal Map. Increasing the intensity value makes the seam appear deeper and more sunken. Decreasing it towards 0 makes the seam shallower and flatter. Refer to the real t-shirt and gradually adjust the value to find the optimal depth. Also, in the 3D seam line section, there is a thickness parameter. Increasing the thickness value makes the seam wider, while decreasing it makes the seam narrower. Avoid increasing the value too much, as it can look unnatural. Find the optimal value. For finer adjustments, tweak fold strength and fold angle to change the bending angle of the seam. First, adjust the fold angle value, and then adjust the fold strength. The default fold angle is 180. As you approach 0, the seam will stand up more, while moving toward 360 makes the seam sink deeper inward. After changing these values, you need to run a simulation to see the effect, so make sure to run the simulation and check the results. For t-shirts, you want a slightly recessed seam, so try starting with a value slightly above 180 and adjust from there until it looks right. Now that you've finished configuring the shoulder seam, apply the same settings to the other seams. The way seams appear can change significantly depending on the viewing angle and lighting conditions. It's crucial to check from various angles and confirm realism from the angle you intend to photograph. Referencing t-shirts from multiple brands helps you understand differences in brands and manufacturing methods, expanding your expressive range. These fine adjustments can make a huge difference in the quality of your final work. So take your time and keep refining until you're completely satisfied with the result.